The Psychology of Money. Success with money starts in your mind, not your wallet. Written by Morgan Housel. Published by Audiobook Zone. Why do some people build lasting wealth while others lose it all, even when they start with the same resources? It's not luck, intelligence, or opportunity, it's something much deeper, something hidden in the way we think about money. Introduction. Imagine two people, one wins the lottery and is broke within years, while the other starts with nothing and builds an empire. What separates them isn't just decisions, it's their psychology of money. Most of us believe financial success is all about numbers, strategies, or hard work. But what if I told you that the real game isn't played in your wallet, but in your mind? This book dives into the surprising, often counterintuitive truths about how emotions, history, and even your upbringing shape every financial move you make, and how understanding this can change your life. Are you ready to uncover the hidden rules that drive wealth, success, and happiness? Let's begin. 1. No one's crazy. Imagine this: a person who grew up during the Great Depression sees saving every penny as the key to survival. Another, raised during decades of booming markets, views money as a tool for risk and opportunity. These two people approach money completely differently, not because one is smarter, but because of their experiences. Housel writes, "Your personal history with money is just a tiny slice of what's happened in the world, but it shapes 80% of how you think about risk, reward, and opportunity." No one's crazy, each person's decisions make perfect sense based on what they've lived through. This lesson challenges us to rethink financial disagreements. Maybe the spender isn't reckless, and the saver isn't cheap. They just see the world differently. More importantly, it teaches us to examine our own biases. Are your money habits driven by outdated fears or unexamined assumptions? Recognizing this is the first step toward financial clarity. 2. Luck and risk. Think about this: if Bill Gates had been born in a different time or gone to a school without a computer, would Microsoft exist? Luck, Housel says, plays a bigger role in success than we like to admit. But on the flip side, risk, unpredictable, uncontrollable risk, can wipe out even the most brilliant plans. Here's the key: life is a mix of forces beyond our control. Housel explains, be careful who you praise and admire, and be careful who you look down upon. Focus less on individuals and more on broad patterns. This mindset is liberating. It helps us avoid envy or judgment, and it keeps us humble in our own success. Understanding luck and risk doesn't mean ignoring effort or skill, it means recognizing that they're only part of the equation. Be grateful for your wins, empathetic toward others' losses, and always prepare for the unexpected. 3. Never enough. Imagine a billionaire who risks everything, not to survive, but to get just a little richer. Housel tells the story of a wealthy investor who lost everything in an illegal scheme, simply because he couldn't say enough. Why do people, even those with more money than they could ever spend, keep chasing more? The answer lies in unchecked greed. Housel warns, the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. If you don't define what enough means to you, you'll never feel satisfied, no matter how much you earn or achieve. Contrast this with Ronald Read, a janitor who quietly accumulated millions by living modestly and investing consistently. This lesson is a reminder that wealth isn't just about accumulation, it's about contentment. Ask yourself, what's your number? What's the point where you'll say, I have enough? If you can answer that, you've already unlocked one of life's greatest financial secrets. 4. Confounding compounding. What if I told you that Warren Buffett didn't become one of the richest people in history because he's the world's best investor? He became so wealthy because he started investing when he was 10 years old and never stopped. The true secret of his fortune is time. Compounding, as Housel explains, is the single most powerful force in wealth building, but it's also the most underappreciated. Good investing isn't about making great decisions. It's about consistently not screwing up, he writes. Imagine earning steady, modest returns, but doing so for decades. Over time, those returns multiply in ways that defy logic. For example, if you invest $1,000 at 10% annual growth, it grows to $2,593 in 10 years. But leave it for 50 years, and it turns into $117,390, without you lifting a finger. The takeaway? Start early, stay consistent, and resist the urge to chase quick wins. Time is your greatest ally. 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Building wealth and keeping wealth require entirely different mindsets. Making money often involves bold moves, optimism, and risk-taking. But keeping money? That's a whole different game. It's about humility, patience, and a constant focus on survival. Housel explains, you can't stay wealthy unless you're consistently scared of losing what you've built. This isn't about paranoia, it's about recognizing that the world is unpredictable. Look at the countless stories of athletes, lottery winners, or business moguls who lost everything because they thought their success would last forever. The secret to staying wealthy is a blend of caution and gratitude. Diversify your investments, don't over-leverage, and always leave room for error. Remember, financial freedom isn't just about how much you make, it's about how long you can keep what you've earned. Survival isn't exciting, but it's the foundation of true, lasting wealth. 6. Tails, you win. Imagine flipping a coin 100 times. Most flips result in small gains or losses, but a handful, the tails, lead to massive, life-changing results. These rare, extraordinary events, called tail events, drive most financial success. Housel explains that the vast majority of Warren Buffett's wealth comes from just a few incredible investments made over decades. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune if the things you get right are big enough, he writes. This principle doesn't just apply to investing, it's a metaphor for life. The lesson is clear, don't waste energy trying to win every small bet. Focus instead on staying in the game long enough to capture those rare, transformative wins. Whether it's a breakthrough idea, an investment, or a career move, it's the tails that make all the difference. 7. Freedom. What is the ultimate goal of money? Is it luxury, power, or prestige? Housel argues that the truest and most valuable form of wealth is freedom, the ability to control your time. Imagine waking up each day and deciding how to spend your hours without answering to anyone else. That's financial independence. He writes, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, for as long as you want, is priceless. Many people chase money for status, but the greatest joy comes from using wealth to reclaim your time. This chapter forces us to reflect, are you working to impress others, or are you working to build a life you control? Money is a tool, and its highest purpose is to give you the freedom to live on your own terms. 8. Man in the car paradox. Picture this, a sleek luxury car zooms past you. For a moment, you admire it. Maybe you even imagine yourself behind the wheel. But here's the paradox, you're not admiring the driver, you're admiring the car. Housel points out, people want to be respected and admired, but the irony is that people are rarely admired for their wealth. They're admired for their generosity, kindness, or humility. The desire to impress others often leads to overspending, but true respect comes from who you are, not what you own. This paradox reveals a deeper truth: financial success isn't about looking rich, it's about feeling secure. Don't let the need to impress others steer your financial decisions. Wealth is about living authentically, not trying to keep up with appearances. 9. Wealth is what you don't see. Here's a startling realization: the wealthiest people aren't the ones flaunting their success. They're the ones quietly building it. Housel explains, rich is flashy. Wealth is hidden. The big house, luxury car, or designer clothes may look impressive, but true wealth lies in the money you didn't spend. Wealth is the freedom to make choices, the security to face challenges, and the resources to seize opportunities. It's invisible because it's what's saved and invested, not what's spent. Housel emphasizes that financial success is often about saying no. Every dollar saved today is a dollar that works for your future. The takeaway? Focus less on appearing rich and more on building wealth that provides long-term peace of mind. 10. Save money. When most people think about wealth building, they focus on earning more or chasing high returns on investments. But Housel reminds us that saving is the true foundation of financial freedom. He writes, savings is the gap between your ego and your income. You don't need a six-figure salary to save. What matters is living below your means, consistently. Saving gives you options, the ability to take risks, weather emergencies, or pursue your dreams without fear. It's not about sacrificing joy, it's about creating flexibility and freedom. Housel also warns that saving doesn't have to be tied to a specific goal. You don't always know what the future holds, but having a financial cushion can make all the difference when life throws you the unexpected. Start small, stay consistent, and let time do the work. 11. Reasonable or rational, decisions that work for you. Imagine a young couple. They've read all the financial advice columns, studied market trends, and built what seems like the perfect financial plan, on paper. But a year later, they're struggling to stick to it. Why? Because it didn't fit their lifestyle or emotional needs. In this chapter, Morgan Housel emphasizes that financial decisions aren't about being perfect, they're about being practical and personal. Logic alone can't account for how we feel when the market crashes or when expenses creep up. He introduces a powerful idea: reasonable beats rational. A rational person might calculate down to the last cent, but a reasonable person considers human emotions, relationships, and the unpredictable nature of life. The lesson? Know yourself. Build a plan you can stick to, not just one that looks good on paper. Success isn't about precision, it's about resilience. 12. Surprise. The unpredictable world of money. Picture the dot-com boom of the late 90s. Investors were ecstatic, convinced the internet was an endless goldmine. Then, in 2000, the bubble burst, wiping out billions. No one saw it coming. This chapter challenges the idea that the future can be predicted. As Housel says, history is the study of surprising events, not predictable ones. He shares examples of how the most significant financial moments, from the Great Depression to the COVID-19 market crash, were shaped by unforeseen circumstances. The lesson here is clear: instead of trying to predict the future, prepare for it. Build a diversified portfolio. Keep some cash reserves. Embrace uncertainty as part of the game. This mindset not only protects your wealth but also your peace of mind. 13. Room for error, building financial safety nets. Imagine a skilled mountaineer ascending a steep cliff without a safety harness. One slip, and it's over. Many approach their finances the same way, taking on debt, relying on a single income source, or investing aggressively without backup plans. In Room for Error, Housel emphasizes that a margin of safety is not a luxury, it's a necessity. He shares the story of a man who saved obsessively but left no buffer for life's uncertainties. When an unexpected expense arose, his savings disappeared overnight. The message is simple but profound: always leave room for error. This means saving more than you think you need, avoiding excessive risk, and understanding that life rarely goes as planned. As Housel puts it, the most successful financial strategies are boring but effective, they account for what can go wrong. 14. You'll change, the evolution of personal finance goals. Do you remember your childhood dreams? Perhaps you wanted to be an astronaut or a rock star. Now, imagine if your financial plans had been locked into those dreams forever. In You'll Change, Housel reveals how our goals, priorities, and passions evolve over time. He tells the story of a woman who saved diligently for a traditional retirement, only to discover in her 50s that she wanted to start a business. Instead of lamenting the change, she adjusted her strategy and thrived. The key takeaway is that flexibility is essential. Housel writes, long-term planning is deceptively hard because it requires predicting the desires of a person you've yet to become. This chapter encourages us to regularly revisit our goals and ensure they align with who we are today, not who we were years ago. 15. Nothing's free, the hidden cost of wealth. Imagine watching a thrilling action movie without realizing the actors spent months training and enduring injuries for those few minutes of glory. Wealth is no different, it has a cost. In Nothing's Free, Housel compares investing to running a marathon. It's long, grueling, and filled with moments of doubt. He shares the story of an investor who expected quick riches but abandoned the market at the first downturn, missing out on long-term gains. The successful investors. They understood that volatility, patience, and discomfort were the price of admission to wealth. Housel's insight is sharp. The cost of wealth isn't just money, it's emotional resilience, time, and the ability to stay the course when things look bleak. The lesson? Accept the hidden costs and remind yourself that the reward lies in the journey, not just the destination. 16. You and me, why different people make different financial choices. Picture two friends. One grew up during an economic boom, with stable jobs and rising markets. The other, born during a recession, saw their family struggle, savings evaporate, and dreams put on hold. These two people, shaped by vastly different experiences, approach money in opposite ways. The first sees risk as an opportunity, the second views it as a threat. Who's right? Housel argues that there's no universal answer. Our financial decisions are deeply personal and context-driven. Your life experiences set the stage for your financial worldview, he writes. What seems reckless to one person might feel like the only rational choice to another. For example, consider a young investor putting everything into stocks. To them, market dips are temporary, they've only seen recovery in their lifetime. Now imagine a retiree, haunted by memories of financial crises, hoarding cash for fear of losing everything. Both decisions make sense within their unique narratives. The lesson? Don't judge others' financial choices by your standards. What works for you may not work for someone else, and that's okay. The real challenge lies in aligning your decisions with your own goals, not society's expectations. 17. The seduction of pessimism, why negativity often sounds smarter. Let's shift the lens to a news anchor warning about a market crash. The tone is serious, the data convincing, and the fear palpable. Why is it that pessimism often commands more attention than optimism? Housel explains that negativity resonates deeply because it feels cautious and wise. Optimism sounds like a sales pitch, he says, while pessimism sounds like someone trying to help you. Humans are wired to respond to danger, after all, survival once depended on it. That's why a prediction of disaster feels urgent, while good news often gets dismissed as wishful thinking. Take investing, for instance. Stories of losing fortunes grab headlines, while the steady growth of wealth over decades remains uncelebrated. This creates a skewed perception, where the risks of failure seem more significant than the potential for success. But Housel offers a counterpoint: optimism isn't blind faith, it's a belief in progress over the long run. The world has faced wars, depressions, and pandemics, yet humanity adapts, rebuilds, and thrives. The history of progress is longer than the history of setbacks, he reminds us. The key is balancing realism with hope, recognizing that while bad news might sound smart, it's often the optimists who achieve greatness. 18. When you'll believe anything, the dangers of financial biases and misinformation. Imagine a crowded room again. This time, a charismatic speaker is selling an investment scheme. The returns are unbelievable, the risks downplayed, and the crowd is mesmerized. You hesitate, but the group's enthusiasm is infectious. Against your better judgment, you invest, and lose everything. Housel explores the psychological traps that lead us to believe misinformation, especially when it comes to money. Biases like overconfidence, herd mentality, and confirmation bias cloud our judgment. Overconfidence makes us think we're smarter than we are, leading to risky bets. Herd mentality convinces us that if everyone else is doing it, it must be right. And confirmation bias pushes us to cherry-pick information that aligns with what we already believe. The problem isn't just individual mistakes, it's the ripple effect. When misinformation spreads, it can destabilize markets, economies, and lives. So how do we protect ourselves? Housel's advice is simple but powerful: stay skeptical. Question too good to be true promises. Seek diverse perspectives. And most importantly, don't let fear or greed dictate your decisions. Financial wisdom comes from clarity, patience, and a willingness to admit what you don't know. 19. All together now, a summary of key lessons. If you could condense Housel's philosophy into a single principle, it would be this: behavior trumps knowledge in personal finance. Making money isn't about being the smartest person in the room, it's about controlling emotions, managing expectations, and thinking long-term. One recurring theme is the idea of enough. In a world obsessed with more money, more success, more status, Housel reminds us to define what enough means for ourselves. Enough is realizing that the pursuit of more can rob you of the things you already have, he warns. Another critical lesson is the importance of financial safety nets. Life is unpredictable, and even the best-laid plans can falter. A margin of safety, whether it's extra savings, a diversified portfolio, or realistic goals, provides a cushion against life's uncertainties. It's not about playing it safe but about staying in the game. Housel also emphasizes humility. The financial world is complex, and no one has all the answers. Accepting this reality allows us to approach decisions with caution, curiosity, and an open mind. Wealth isn't about outperforming others, it's about aligning your money with your values. 20. Confessions, the author's personal approach to money. Finally, Housel offers a glimpse into his own relationship with money. Surprisingly, it's not about maximizing returns or chasing wealth. Instead, his philosophy centers on simplicity and freedom. I save more than I need not because I'm worried about the future, but because I want control over my time, he admits. Housel avoids complex investments, preferring steady, predictable growth. He prioritizes a high savings rate, not because he fears scarcity, but because it grants him flexibility. For him, financial success isn't measured in dollar signs but in the ability to wake up each day and do what he loves. His confessions are a reminder that personal finance is just that, personal. There's no one-size-fits-all formula. The goal isn't to mimic someone else's path but to carve your own, based on what matters most to you. As Housel concludes, the ultimate purpose of money isn't to buy things, it's to buy time, options, and peace of mind. By sharing his journey, he invites us to reflect on our own values, redefine success, and use money as a tool for freedom. Conclusion: The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money is not just a book about wealth, it's a guide to understanding the intricate dance between our emotions, decisions, and financial lives. At its core, the book teaches us that success with money isn't about spreadsheets or investment strategies, it's about mastering the psychological nuances that shape our choices. Housel repeatedly emphasizes that money is deeply personal, and there's no universal blueprint for financial success. Whether it's redefining what enough means, embracing the unpredictability of life, or acknowledging the power of humility, the book reveals that true wealth lies in balance. It's about using money as a tool to gain freedom, security, and purpose, not as a measure of self-worth. Perhaps the most profound takeaway is the reminder that the goal isn't to maximize wealth but to align money with what matters most to you. Whether you value time, independence, or a legacy for future generations, the decisions you make should reflect those priorities. In a world obsessed with chasing more, Housel offers a refreshing perspective: wealth isn't just what's in your bank account, it's how you think about and use money. It's a reminder that financial success isn't about beating others or the market, it's about living a life you can be proud of. As Housel writes, money's greatest intrinsic value, and this can't be overstated, is its ability to give you control over your time. With this mindset, the psychology of money becomes a timeless guide, teaching us not only how to handle money but how to live wisely, purposefully, and authentically.